What is going on, you guys? Thank you for listening and viewing the Verse Podcast, guys. We're at it again. We just came out of Wowie, and we're back in studio, and we're moving down the road. I just want to say one promotion that's coming up in March, guys. We will be at AC Beer Fest, guys. That's right, AC Beer Fest on March 29th. That's a Saturday, guys. March 29th, Saturday. Definitely grab your tickets at www.acbeerfest.com, www.acbeerfest.com. First session will be Census Fail, guys, and the second will be Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Guys, if you guys saw us there last year, you know we do giveaways, but we do it in a fun way. Spin the wheel and see what you win. So come visit the Verse apparel tent at AC Beer Fest, guys, on March 29th, Saturday. Thank you guys so much. All right, guys, today we are in studio with a very exciting guest that I've been waiting to have here. Probably bugged you to get on, but you're finally here. We have Meagg Moon, owner of Over the Moon Art Studios.
Thanks, Kevin.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm happy to be here.
I know.
Yeah, so
a little
stoked.
rainy outside.
It's all right.
Did you get here okay?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about you first, and then we'll probably
Lovely.
we'll get more into Over the Moon because I'm very interested in that.
Cool.
I went to the holiday
Yes.
event that you had.
Our Wonder show.
Yeah, the Wonder Show. And
Yeah.
that was my first time there.
It's cool, right?
And I've heard about your studio even before I met you and before I even been there. And I was always curious, and I went there. And I think you saw me overexcited too when I met you. I was like, this place is amazing. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, thank you. Well, it is special. And you
Yeah.
caught us that event. That's my favorite event of the
Yeah,
year. So
yeah.
you really caught us on a good day.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to Over the Moon stuff, but I also
Cool.
want to know like a little bit more about you.
Sure.
So let's talk about how you started pursuing being an artist first.
So like I always joke that people are like, how did you know you were an artist? And I'm like, I was an only child and I had no other kids to play with. So adults just threw art supplies at me, right? Always to like,
Yeah, here, start drawing.
here, just draw.
No iPad yet.
No
You gotta wait
iPads
for
yet.
that.
So I think it probably began there. And then, I was like, I went to dance school as a kid. I went to a performing arts high
nice.
school. Yeah. But I never expected to be a visual artist. Like I never expected to be a painter. But I was always like artsy. I was like, into like the music scene and stuff. But I have a bachelor's in psychology. I thought I was going to be, and then I went back and ended up going to grad school to be an arts educator. But yeah, I did not expect to be a painter.
Yeah, that comes hand in hand though.
It does.
Yeah.
You would be surprised how much psychology
I know.
And how like, when people are there, because a lot of what I do in the studio is guiding people through like creative experiences, right? They're like making art, how much of their soul like pours out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone that was a psych major and went into
Art therapy.
Yeah, art therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they
That's
work
what I
with
thought I
kids.
was going to do. And then like, I
mean,
don't know, life
yeah.
had other plans.
Oh man, that's a really good transition over the moon, but I gotta keep on asking.
Quite all right. We'll get there. I'll give you plenty more.
That would be a great transition, guys. But I also want to ask, since you're in art, well, I was gonna ask the medium you work in is mostly paint, but what kind of medium?
Yeah. So it's funny. I'm at a little bit of a crossroads right now, which kind of talking about like the challenges of being an artist. So I work in alcohol ink, and alcohol ink is kind of like how watercolor is pigment that's floats in water and is activated by water. Alcohol ink is pigment that works with isopropyl alcohol. So I use alcohol ink and a hairdryer. I did to kind of evaporate the inks, and the inks evaporate at different rates, and it leaves behind like different colors, and that chemical colorful marking of what chemicals are in there, it's known as liquid chromatography for my science listeners. because the different colors, the different chemicals evaporate at different rates, and so you get these really interesting patterns and striations.
Wow.
And creates these really dynamic works. But so I've been working in alcohol ink for probably since like 2018 or 19. And I had a lot of success with it, but it's not the best thing for your body. There's a lot of chemicals, and even though I use a respirator and ventilate things well, I still don't love it. So I'm at a tinkering stage right now where I'm experimenting with all new mediums as a painter. So it's kind of like a rebirth as a painter. Yeah.
And you haven't picked one yet. You're still working through
No, I
experimenting.
mean, so I am an art supply hoarder, if you will. Like my studio is just filled with supplies, and I share the wealth. But I have so many different things that I've been tinkering with lately. But I have been enjoying working in acrylics lately. Sorry, it's a boring answer compared to the alcohol inks, but I am enjoying working in acrylics lately.
No, I get it. My background too. Like I went to school for fine art first.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And then I went, and now I'm like, I went more technical. I went into like web design, but I did fine arts class in the beginning. So like, hearing that you worked with alcohol and like different like substances to make art is really interesting, because we did some of those not with that medium, but with different ways to come up with art, because it's like really open-ended, right? You can
to
use whatever,
experiment. I feel like a mad scientist in there sometimes. And then it's also hard to reproduce, right? To replicate your results, because you're just like tinkering with all these things.
That's amazing.
Cool, thanks.
So we went over your challenges. I guess now the real important question, the more interesting question that I'm really into is Over the Moon.
Yes.
How did you get started with Over the Moon? What gave you the inspiration to start it?
You want the long version or the short version?
Give us the long version. We got time.
Okay. So, the long version is, so I was an art teacher, an art educator, art professor. I taught elementary art, and then, I moved to New Jersey. I was teaching high school and college at the same time. I was adjuncting, so it was like part-time adjunct, and teaching high school. And I started selling paintings on social media, which we'll get into social media later. And I found that I was getting commissions, and I needed a place to make them, because I live in an apartment in Asbury Park, and even though it's a nice apartment, the room is limited.
Right.
And I had my daughter at the time, was probably like 2, like first learning to walk, and my entire apartment looked like I had this show. It was like my first show. It was like at this cafe restaurant, but they did art shows, and the guy was like an art collector, and and I made all of this work for this show. And my husband was like, I cannot live. We can't live like this. Like, our kid cannot walk this house. There was paintings drying all over the floor. And so something had to give, and there was nowhere. There was nowhere in town. And then I had a neighbor who was a glass blower, and he had a studio. And so I rented space with these glass blowers, even though I was not a glass blower. I was just like, hey, like, I'll take a bench too. And then COVID happened. And first I got laid off. From my high school teaching job. I was still teaching college, and then when I got laid off from my high school teaching job, it was like, oh my God, like now I really have the opportunity to like pursue this. And then like immediately after that, then COVID happened, which was like so nice that I didn't have to teach high school during COVID. But I was locked in, and I just painted through like all of COVID in the studio with these glass blowers, and they were really cool. Like they were professional artists, so I like learned a lot from. They did borosilicate glass. They didn't do and it was cool. I learned a lot from them. But at some point I needed a studio that was like that my kid could be in, there's like glass all over the floor. And it wasn't like the most child-friendly environment. So I ended up I had other artists that would talk to me that were like, oh, I need space. And so finally one day, like my friend was like, Megan, like if these guys can do it, like you can do it. And I used to work at I used to teach classes and after school program at this place called Artworks in Trenton. And they were great. They had like a gallery up front. They were like a nonprofit. They had a gallery up front and studios in the back. And I was like, this is what I want. Yeah. This is like, so I'm looked long and hard for a space. And I was like saying like, oh, I would love like a space where established artists could like mentor new artists and like teach classes for kids because I had been an educator. And I'm like, I want this like all under one roof where everybody is learning from each other. And I remember the friend that I was talking to at the time, he had a business and he was like, don't let that dream die. And I ended up, I think I searched for about 6 months for a space. Everything kept falling through. And then this one space opened up. Okay, do you want the long version of this too?
I'm interested.
My particular space, because you know, like you saw the layout of my space. Yeah. My space is big.
It's huge.
And it has like, you know, the mezzanine there. Okay, so my space, I'm going to digress really quick. Mm-hmm. My space used to be High Voltage Cafe. It was a coffee shop in Asbury. People really liked it. It was like really nice. It was in where I am now.
Oh, yeah. That's what it used to be?
It used to be a coffee shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and I remember I went into that coffee shop, like while I was working out of my old studio, right, with the glass blowers. Right. I had just gotten my space with the glass blowers. And I happened to go into that coffee shop for like the Asbury Underground. My friend was reading a poem. And I went and saw her and I was in the coffee shop and I was like, oh my God. I love this space. This is what I would like my studio to look like someday. And then 3 years later, maybe 2, that space became available. And that space is now over the moon.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So after 6 months of looking and like all these other spaces falling through, I got the space that I had wanted all along, you know, 3 years prior. Yeah. So it happened for a reason. And so, so that, and then I had, you know, artistic friends. I kind of like rounded up this posse of people and that I knew were looking for studio space. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I will rent this under my LLC and you guys have to promise that you're going to pay me because I can't do it by myself.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big space.
It was a bit.
You guys haven't been there, go there. It's awesome. And it's huge.
It is. Yeah. It's really big.
Yeah.
So, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And then we did it. And then that was like, I think I had 5 people in the beginning and the rest is history. And now the collective's, you know, grown much bigger than that. And and I've expanded into more of the space.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you have that main space where you host bands too, which is great.
Yeah.
And then you have the back end
where the studios are.
Where the studios are.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have studio space. Technically, I have room for 10 back there. So 10 resident artists. And then we have, you know, other memberships for like people who come but like don't leave as much of their stuff. So I think I have about 14 right now. But then there's also people who are part of the collective that don't rent space there that are just have like memberships. So with that, you know, we're really getting up there with the number of people.
They don't have a space, but they have memberships.
Yeah.
What does the memberships include?
The memberships are like, so when we do like big group shows, I do like mentoring. We have like a little Discord where we kind of talk
nice.
talk about things. It includes mentorship and then a studio access hours.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and like discounts and workshops and stuff like that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So a lot of you do a lot of events at Over the Moon, right?
Yeah.
You guys are a collective. Can you go over some of the events that you throw at Over the Moon for people that are new to it?
Yeah. So I also did not start out I'm going to create a venue for bands. Like that was not on the...
That is awesome.
Yeah,
guys. That is so much fun.
It is fun, right?
Yeah.
But it was not on the agenda like when I did this, but I just found that that my whole mission is to create space for people to be creative
Right.
and to be who they really are, right?
Mhm.
So that isn't just for visual artists. That can also, extend to musicians as well. So like what I do right now is like if a band wants to do a show, like they call me
Mhm.
and they can book the space and I'll like rent out the space to them and they keep 100% of the door. And so they really
Wow.
have the creative freedom to do like an album release party, or if they want to do something like just weird that like a bar wouldn't book you for because you're going to scare their customers away.
Yeah.
Or,
We book shows and we know that technicality. Tickets are, everything.
So this is like a place to do creative freedom. A place for creative freedom.
Yeah.
I encourage performance artists to come in. I love my like absurdist things. They're just like, it brings me so much joy.
Yeah, it's really awesome. That event that I went to, it's a total like creative like association together because you have the band, which is creative on its own, writing their original music, and then you have the vendors on the side too.
Mm-hmm.
They were selling all of their different art there, which was really cool,
and all the art on the walls. So everything has to have some sort of like artistic component that we do there. Mm-hmm. So we do our own in-house art shows, so which is another about the membership. That's another thing about the membership is every person who is part of our collective, you're like, you can do a solo show or you can be part of our group shows. We have all sorts of different shows coming up. Like if you go on our website, artists can see what to apply, for. Oh yeah, that overthemoonartstudios.com.
Nice. Overthemoonartstudios.com, guys.
And you can see everything that we do. So we do in-house events where we do art that has like different themes. Shows that have different themes. The one you came to was the Wonder Show. Mm-hmm. So the theme of that was wonder. Yeah. And that was like, that's why we partnered with Wowie for that, because they're what a wonderful year.
I'm wearing
we had,
shirt right
yeah. And we had our Wowie musicians there to throw like an overall arts event. Another art event that I'm doing, it's not in my studio per se, but it's run by my studio and it's members of my collective and artists from the public. Is once a month they do First Fridays. I could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
you want to hear
get
about
into
First
it.
Fridays?
Guys, this is awesome. Ears open now.
So First Fridays, you said you went to art school, so you probably know about First Fridays. I don't know, where'd you go? Did you go?
Well, I went. So I went to more technical school, but I had to take. I went to NJIT. So,
okay, cool.
But I did do fine art.
Yeah. So you probably know First Fridays, like Philadelphia does First Fridays.
Yeah.
So First Fridays, they do it in a lot of major cities, and it is the first Friday of every month. All the galleries kind of open their doors. They can change out their art, but it's like an art tourism thing. You go to whatever city is hosting First Fridays, and you just kind of gallery hop. Mm-hmm. So this was my vision for Asbury Park, to bring First Fridays to Asbury Park, and we've started it. So I'm working with the city. The Department of Community and Cultural Affairs approached me that they wanted to do something to activate the train station space. And if you've never been in the Asbury Park train station, inside, it's a huge like cavernous space, and it's really cool. So we're doing a monthly art show the first Friday of every month with the vendors and bringing in musicians. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have like a band in like the basement part, not basement, on like the first floor. And like you look down on the band, or you can go down there too. Mm-hmm. And then it's all like art vendors.
Wow.
Around the musicians.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
thanks.
Yeah. So you took what was in Over the Moon and you put it there.
Yeah, and then eventually it'll be citywide. So you'll go there first, and then you'll stop at Over the Moon, and then you'll walk to all the other galleries. That's the first Friday of every month.
Wow. That's a big task to take on.
I know. I'm tired.
Yeah. And that's every Friday?
Yeah.
So when does that start?
No, it's not every Friday. It's the first Friday of every month.
Oh, first Friday. That
feels like it's every Friday. I took a break for the holidays, but February 7th is going to be the next one. So I invite you, if you are an artist, I encourage you to go on our website, especially if you're a maker who does like tables and things like that. Even if you've never done a table before, I will mentor you. I will coach you and tell you what to do. I encourage you to go on our website and apply because it's free. The tables are free to participate because I wanted to give an opportunity for everyone in our Asbury community that maybe wouldn't normally do an event like this to have the opportunity to do it.
Wow.
So especially an emerging artist, I will help you. I'll show you exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
For like no price for vendors.
Yeah, no table fee.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because it's a community
yeah.
You know.
You rarely hear that though. That's like a good thing you're doing. That's really,
oh yeah.
You know, you don't hear that a lot. We vendor, right?
Yeah.
Product, and we pay
You're
a substantial amount, guys. So definitely get out there and start signing up.
There's no table fee. And that's because it's for a developing artist.
Exactly. That's important.
Artists. Yeah. But you know.
Yeah. That's great. And then when does that run to?
So it's going to be the first Friday of every month from now until, I don't know, till I drop dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I saw you did that last year too, right?
Yeah. I had 3 of them so far. They went really well. And it's all local musicians that I book.
Great.
And local everybody. Sound tech is local. And if you're interested in it, we also take volunteers. And we also have little things for the kids to do too.
Nice.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
So the kids can stand outside and, well, not in February, but in the fall we had them outside, painting. But I always have like little bracelet making, little craft stations. So it's family friendly.
That's great. Guys, if you're an artist, if you don't take this, it's like, she's mentoring you. You don't have to pay. You rarely hear about that. College doesn't do that for you. You have to pay.
Right?
So, guys, definitely hop on that. And that's amazing. You have any other events you want to talk about coming up, or your head is just really in that right now?
Well, my head is always in First Fridays. I actually do have 2 other things that I think actually would be good to talk about on here coming up.
Yeah.
So, I have a whole bunch of workshops coming up, which I always do, like my watercolor classes and my kids' after school classes. But we're starting more like printmaking. I have a drawing series going on. So when I said I was a professor, nobody get excited. I'm not like super academic professor. Okay. I taught drawing and 2D design. I'm not teaching nuclear physics. But yeah, I've taught drawing, basic drawing for like 10 years now. Wow. So now I'm teaching drawing out of my studio. So if anybody wants to take a drawing class, come take a drawing class, watercolor class. Printmaking is super fun. And then we have little like drop-in workshops. Like we have like a Galentine's polymer clay jewelry. I have Japanese water marbling, sumi nagashi every month. All kinds of, fun things that you can drop in.
Yeah.
We also have, I know I'm like firing a million things.
No, this is, listen, I'm learning because I didn't know any of this when I first met you or even when I went to your studio. So like, it's all like, as I'm listening to you, it's connecting the dots for me. Like you being an artist, you being a teacher, and like how I'm learning how Over the Moon started by you just talking about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, from teaching and, it's putting everything together. So keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So, I also have a cool new event. So people who know my studio know I've been doing a free art club every Tuesday from 7:30 to 9:30. It's like you just come. And it's just a social hour for creatives, right? So people can just come and bring whatever they're working on. And, they sit around, sometimes drink a little wine. And it's just like a way to just, people come and they crochet, or they'll come and work on whatever, digital piece they're working on. I had a friend, Andrew, who he was working on a comic book for like years. He would like pop in every once in a while and work on it. So my art club has been going every Tuesday for 3 years, right? So, but now at the same time as my art club, I have, I hesitate to call it a figure drawing night because it's not just a figure drawing night. I'm calling it Muse Night.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a person come in every week, whoever they are, they're the guest and they are the muse. So the muse, last week I had an aerial artist and she came in with her hoop and she posed in her hoop and we got to draw her in her hoop. Next week, we have somebody coming in. It's probably going to be reading poetry while they pose. So the muse is there to inspire you. They hold poses so you can draw them.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you have another medium that you work in that you're looking for inspiration, you can come there and write a song about the muse. You can come and I don't know, work on your screenplay, whatever. And like maybe so it's the idea is it's an interdisciplinary art event where people can meet each other and kind of come together and go just outside of their visual arts network.
This is all amazing to me.
Just yapping.
Yeah, no, but it's making sense to me now how it's building because like with teaching and then psychology.
Yeah.
And your art, you found a place to put it all in one.
I guess so, Kevin.
And as you're talking, I'm putting it together. And I'm like, that's how this runs. Because, I've been to a lot of art studios and it doesn't run like that.
No.
It's just
we're a circus.
Giving money for the space and then you can do your art there. But you're integrating education, you're integrating mentoring, you're integrating a space where people can like come in for the club, for example. They can be I could come in with something and then
you can come in and work on your clothing designs. You
can get critiqued.
And you'll get feedback. Critique, what a nice transition to the next thing I'm going to tell you about. Yeah. So we have our Muse Night, right? Yeah. And now we're doing what we're calling our monthly art salon, but it's just a critique night. And you can come and you can bring your stuff. I don't even want to say critique. Critique is a scary word.
I know. That's what they used to have in college was you're going to get critiqued on your final. And I'm
know.
It's just like, it's like you're like on like a American Idol or something.
I know. So I actually always tell people, like, I said it just the other day, like, if you went to an art school where they roasted you during critique, like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because the developing artist is such a delicate thing. Like, I know from teaching college and teaching, and I taught elementary schoolers too, like, you have to be so careful because they will make the decision, I'm not a good artist. Like, especially that, oh my God, in your 20s, like your early teens or your late teens, early 20s, you're so fragile. And that's when we have critique. So I know how to run a critique to make it nurturing and supportive. Really, so I had our first art salon, which is, it's really just people coming and discussing art, right? Their own art. We had the first one last week and it ran super well. Everybody's just giving feedback and talking about their process. Like, you do not have to stand there and be like, this is my piece. Please give me feedback. Oh my God. Like, most people would rather like stand there naked, right? Than be like, this is my most vulnerable self.
Yeah.
And what I've been pouring years into.
Yeah,
and then everyone's like, boo. No. Never. It's very supportive.
That's great.
Yeah.
When do you run that again?
The art salon is once a month on Thursdays. It's not like the same.
I might have to come in there.
You should come to the art salon.
With the next clothing collection we're coming out with.
You should. Actually, that would be great.
Yeah.
We give you feedback. You can even come with like a concept. Like, you just come with sketches. You don't have to have
like
it all flushed out.
Like that.
Yeah. It's a great, because especially if you're a creative entrepreneur, like, and how you're talking about some spaces, you just get like, excuse me, you just get space and that's all they give you. Like, if a person just wants space to work, I am not for them, right? If all you want is a room, like, just go rent a room somewhere. Exactly. You don't need me. Yeah. Like, but most artists, you're working in your house by yourself, and after you leave art school, where else do you get feedback from other artists and community? You don't get anything until you put it in the gallery and then it doesn't sell.
Yeah, yeah.
You need that,
Feedback,
that in between, to help you refine and help you grow. So you need the people.
Wow.
Yeah,
I might have to do that actually.
You should, yeah.
Because my feedback there, it's good because you have like a demographic, right? Like you have all different people. Me, it's just me sending my friends. It's probably the same demographic.
Yeah, and they lie to you.
Yeah,
they lie to you,
great, man.
And it's true. Like, I mean, some of us like have parents that are critical and friends that are critical, but your friends don't know how to tell you like, oh, there's not enough contrast on this, or this placement should move happening. You need people who work in the professions, to give you real feedback.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for you to come in. I'm such a fashion. I live for fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a passion for fashion for sure. Yeah, I can't wait for you to bring in
so we've been doing graphic tees. Mm-hmm. So like that's one aspect, but we're moving on to different things. The one I really need help with is we're starting to do swimwear. So that's it's prints. So we need the prints for the swimwear, but like for males I have that.
For males.
But for women I don't have that.
It's funny you say that. So I had my art put onto a little bit of swimwear, and I just came across the mock-ups the other day.
Really?
And yeah, the company that I use though, I use one of the print on demand companies to create the swimwear.
Yeah.
And I didn't love the quality of the swimwear, so I couldn't justify the price point, but oh my God, it's so exciting.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. A lot of feedback. I get a lot of like friends that just give me, oh, this looks, like inspiration.
Yeah.
From like other competitors.
Yeah.
That's usually how we run things, competitors.
Yeah.
But we kind of did the same thing with the shows too. Having the bands are in because we booked a couple of shows. We do like 2 shows a year.
Cool.
Yeah, we just did Gramercy in this city.
Yeah.
That was a good one, but I think the music is like people love music, so why not incorporate it?
That's why I put it in everything now. Like I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
Even though my dad was a musician, like he was a hobbyist and a gearhead, and I actually have some of his like gear in the studio now. So like when you come and you're using like my backline, that's like that was his stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a backline there. I didn't know that.
I have a full PA.
I thought people were bringing their own.
No, you don't have to schlep a thing.
It's amazing. Wow, I didn't know that you had a backline there.
No, I do.
I
do. I have a full PA and backline.
I have to do a little.
Yeah,
collab.
I mean, just bring all the drummers have to bring their sticks.
Really? Oh, even the drums too. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I break their own breakables, but
yeah.
I have the whole.
That's amazing.
Drums and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those shows, because I'm interested. When so is that like on a set schedule you do shows there, or it's just event by event that gets booked? It's
just like one at a time, because it's really not like. It wasn't part of my like business model, but what I have found, like my original, like as if I was like sitting there with like a fully flushed out business model. All of this happened by accident, but the bands, they just call me and they book, and if we have the date available, it's usually a Friday or Saturday night, because we don't have that much else going on Friday and Saturday nights, And it's cool because one hand washes the other. Like the bands will come and they'll play, and then we get all these people that have never been in the studio before, and then they're like, wow, this is really cool, I should sign up for a printmaking class. Or sometimes people will be like, wow, I have an apparel company, I should take a space here so I can, I have a workspace. And that's how that happens. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to book a show, you just call me, tell me what dates. Just be like,
I might do some North Jersey people up here.
Yeah.
Because they're interested in playing Asbury, but
it's not easy.
It's not easy, and you give that open outlet.
And
your venue for shows is like perfect.
It's cool, right?
Yeah, you have the high ceilings, everything.
I had a sound tech tell me, because I was like, what is happening with the sound in here? And like an audio tech was like, it sounds really good because you have this like high ceiling and low ceiling together. Something about it, I don't know, it does something with the acoustics.
Your whole business model just changes.
I'm like,
you're like
I was like,
you're like the next CBGBs.
That's that's kind of like, it was going that way for a while. I was like, whoa, I'm an art teacher. Like it was a little crazy. Like I have like the kids classes, and I'm like teaching the kindergartners like, blue and red makes purple. And then like people are loading in their gear, like while I'm teaching the kindergarten.
Yeah, drop it over there, guys.
Wait, the parents love it because the parents they're so cool, right? The parents of all my kids, the kids, like half of them are going to be rock stars because they go to Lake House, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like such the best community.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm slowly learning Asbury because I just got here, but yeah, your studio is a big part of Asbury.
Thanks
huge,
for saying that,
huge part. Yeah, no, I'm not even joking. Like,
gas me up like that.
Because like I said before, like I was kind of looking for a studio like a while back, and yours is like the first one. Even like
really,
one of my friends that like I work with, she like recommended you.
I would love to do a podcasting studio one day.
Yeah, let me
somewhere
know.
for me to just yap 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, let me know. I'll come on if you do it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. What advice would you give to aspiring artists that are just starting out?
I love this. So I get to talk to a lot of aspiring artists because I've taught everything from kindergarten to college. So I have kindergartners who are aspiring to be artists. But I have a lot of people like in their 20s. And then I have people who rent studio space from me that are in their 40s, 50s. And my advice to pretty much everyone is kind of similar. So the two most important things that you can do. One, if you have the means, invest in workspace, invest in a studio space. And I don't just say that because I have studios. All my studios are pretty much full right now, so I don't have studios.
Oh, really?
Actually, no. I have one or two that are opening up within the next few months. But
get on it, guys. Chop, chop.
Do message me because I'm waitlisted, but things do open up. But investing in workspace, it makes you take your work seriously. Yeah. And then you have a space outside of your house. Because if you're trying to work in your house, you're like trying to paint. And then you're like, oh, but I should be doing the dishes. I was just about to say that. Yeah. And then when you're doing the dish, and if you have kids, 1,000 times worse.
Gotta do laundry.
Yeah. Even your pets. My dog walks through everything. So definitely invest in space because it also, when you put that financial commitment into it, it also forces you to produce work that will actually sell. Or, you know, even if you're just doing this as a hobby, I have a lot of hobbyists working out of this space. It still forces you to make that time for yourself, especially women. You know, a lot of art. And I'm not going to get on too much of a soapbox with this, but a lot of our society, we're in this late stage capitalist hellhole, right? That treats art like it's super frivolous. And if something isn't like productive and efficient and blah, 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 it doesn't have any place in our society. And it's simply not true, right? You need to make art for the sake of making art, for even if it's for your own like well-being, or because it's the thing. These are the things that make life worth living, right? Our creative pursuits. And especially if you spend all day at like a job, maybe you work in an office and you spend all day in a cubicle, but what you really want is to be a painter or to be a rock star. Like, I pride myself on giving you a place to do that. So to be like yourself and enjoy the creative experience. So my advice to an aspiring artist is invest in studio space if you have the means. If you don't have the means, it's quite all right. Invest in your community. So invest in taking the time to go to galleries, talk to people, get a mentor. That's like anything else, you need a mentor. Go to all of the art events, meet the community, have a network of people. Your network is like, it's your most important asset. So yeah, do that. I offer those things, obviously, at Over the Moon. That's what I'm a big believer in, creative community. And that is how you'll find your connections, and that's how you'll grow, and that's how you'll show your work. No one is going to just like stumble upon your Instagram and be like, oh my God, this person's amazing. Like, maybe they might, but a lot of artists aren't even putting themselves out there on socials. They're just like, because it's such a vulnerable act, you know, to share your work. Yeah. So yeah, those are my recommendations to aspiring artists. Find your community and give yourself designated workspace.
That's amazing.
And work time.
I love everything you just said.
Thanks.
I just got free mentoring from you.
You're welcome.
No, it's really.
I have plenty more. Join Join the collective.
I'll definitely be stopping by for sure.
Yeah.
So with that being said, so we talked about the art side. How do you navigate the business side of being an artist?
It's a lot. And they don't teach it to you in art school. And they definitely don't teach it to you when you go to school to be an art teacher. They don't teach you that. So you have to, one, recognize like your faults and or recognize the gaps in your knowledge. So like for me, I was not a business person. Even though I went to school for a long time, I took everything 101 from ballet to geology. Never once took a business class because I had like I don't know. I think I had like feelings about it. Like it felt like you feel like a sellout, right? If you focus on the business, you feel like a sellout. But at the end of the day, you can't make art if you don't have the money to make art, right? Like if you don't sell anything, you can't make more. So so I navigate the business side with mentorship. For sure. I go to the galleries and I yap a lot. I had to just like learn a lot about how to price your work, read a lot of books about things like that. And if you're an aspiring artist, I can help you figure out your pricing and all of that stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And not that I'm there 100%. There's always still so much to know, but
those are usually the big questions when you get into business.
Pricing is big and and meeting people and getting into places. Networking. You
always have like be vocal.
It's and it's hard because when you're an artist, like usually artists tend to be more introverted.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So, in the artist's mind, do you believe that engaging with other creatives is important for them?
So important.
Yeah.
So important that you engage with other creatives and you feed the intellectual side of the creativity. Because if you're not what happens to creatives who don't create and who don't engage with other creatives is they self-destruct. This is how you fall. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of reasons people fall down the rabbit holes with like substance abuse and all of that stuff. But a lot of it is they're not feeding the part of their soul that needs to be fed. And if painting is great in your house by yourself, but it's not going to feed you the way connecting with other creatives will. So super important. And find a creative community. It is so important.
It's kind of like we were talking about before with like feedback and everything.
You need the feedback. And you just need to know that there are other people that feel like you feel and see the world like you do. We're so sensitive. Canaries in a coal mine. That's like the function of the artist, is a Kurt Vonnegut quote that I love. And you need your people.
Yeah. Being
Find
creative
your tribe.
is like it's like giving your heart out.
Yeah, and we're so weird. We need each other.
Yeah, that's true. I am weird. If you watch any of our other podcasts, you guys know.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Exactly.
So, you gotta meet your other weardos.
Yeah. Is there do you want to shout out all your socials and where they can find you?
Yeah. So obviously overthemoonartstudios.com is where you can get all of our information about everything. Over the Moon Art Studios is our Instagram, _the_moon_art studios. That's where you can find all the information about everything going on in the studio, and you can watch my stories and listen to me yap and be silly and jump out from behind objects.
I've seen them. They're great guys.
Here for your entertainment.
I know they're great.
I'm glad you enjoy them. They are very cringe.
Yeah.
And then I have mine. It's just Meagg Moon Art. If you want to see my art, especially if you're interested in the alcohol ink, I can kind of teach you about that. And yes, that is us.
That's amazing.
We do have a TikTok, but
might be gone.
What do we have? 2 more days?
Well, no, in a couple days, what's gonna happen?
They're gonna push it.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
They do not want it. We're all gonna be like shaking, like a bunch of withdrawing. Like
I never built up my TikTok.
I didn't either, but I love TikTok so much.
I know. I like scrolling through it, but I knew something like that was gonna happen. I never built it.
Yeah.
Like if you look at our followers for Verse on Instagram compared to there, nothing.
Same. But now I'm gonna go hard, or maybe I'll download RedNote and just.
Yeah,
just
that's
give
true.
Everything right over to the
artists. Get your social medias popping, guys.
Yeah,
really
it is
important.
True. It's good. Yeah.
Get it. I definitely want to have you back in. I feel like we ran out of time.
I have so much to say.
Yeah,
Kevin.
I wanted to get more in like the social media aspect of things.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you more questions about like me as an artist personally too.
I can't wait. Yeah,
so
yeah.
Usually when we have people on for the first time, we talk about them.
Yeah.
And then we get more fun around like the second one.
Awesome.
So
and you need to come to Art Club.
I'm down.
Come to Art Club. Come to Muse Night. Come to the Art Salon.
Yeah. I'm going to be there 100%.
Cool.
Yeah, because I need the guidance too.
You need your creative
Even though I know how to
community.
use the tools, sometimes you get burnt out or you don't know if what you're creating is like still right because you see it all the time.
The people will reinvigorate you. Yeah, for sure. And inspire you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Meagg Moon. Thank you so much for coming in on a Saturday, guys.
My pleasure.
Thanks you so
for having
much.
Me.
I hope you come back again.
I will.
Awesome.
Tomorrow.
Amazing.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Same place, same time, guys. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and viewing the Verse podcast. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you again, Meagg Moon, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Peace, guys.